If you're watching this video today, you might have heard of the HYROX Fitness Challenge. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what the HYROX Challenge is, why I decided to sign up, some of the things I'm learning, and why I think doing a fitness challenge like HYROX could be incredibly beneficial for your recovery and just for becoming the best version of yourself. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned for today's episode and stick around to the end. I'm going to share with you some of the results from my own HYROX competitions and what I'm doing to prepare for my next race coming up in May. So stay tuned.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Lipkowitz, and with over 12 years of meditation experience as a mindfulness trainer and coach for high performers, I've become obsessed with helping people break free from compulsive, unhealthy behaviors and addictions and step into a life of true freedom so that they can finally become their best selves and cultivate deeper and lasting fulfillment. I've created Unhooked, the Breaking Porn Addiction podcast, to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to master your mind and optimize your life. This is Unhooked. So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Unhooked, the Breaking Porn Addiction podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Lipkowitz. I'm a men's coach, founder of the Unhooked Academy recovery program, and I am also a new huge fan and lover of the HYROX Fitness Challenge. This is something that I started doing a few months back, and I've really just become fully addicted at this point, spending a lot of my time training for the race and really loving it. And that's the topic of the show today. I want to talk about what HYROX is, why I signed up, and why I actually think it is really beneficial for recovery. If you are in any kind of recovery program, if you are recovering from addiction to porn, video games, substances, doing a fitness challenge can have extreme benefits for your life. And I'm going to talk about some of those benefits today. So first, what is HYROX? You might have heard of HYROX. Maybe you have a friend who is obsessively posting about it on Instagram. Maybe you've seen some YouTube videos or seen your local gym offering HYROX classes. So what is HYROX? HYROX is a fitness race. It is a competition. There's a standardized race, but it is also a class that you can sign up for. So you can do the actual race, which I'll talk about what that is, but know that you can also just do HYROX-based classes at many different gyms. You know, if you have a HIIT gym in your area, they will often be offering something like a HYROX class. But what HYROX is, it is a fitness competition that started in Germany back in 2017, and it has quickly grown and become popular all over the world. There are now races all over Europe, all over Asia, the US. I've definitely seen it becoming more and more popular, particularly in Europe and in Asia. I also know that in the US, it's also becoming quite popular, but maybe not as much as Europe and Asia. But it's just growing all over the world. People are really falling in love with it. The way that it was first described to me was that it is similar to CrossFit, if you're familiar with CrossFit, but it's less technical. It's more beginner friendly. So for example, in CrossFit, there are certain types of movements, you know, these clean and jerks and things that are quite challenging if you don't know how to do them. They actually take some skill to learn how to do them. Whereas HYROX is actually very accessible. You're doing movements that essentially anyone can do, but you can still push yourself to an extreme degree. So the movements are like farmer's carries or burpees or wall balls or the rowing machine. It's not anything technically very challenging. You can argue a burpee is technically challenging, but we can get into that later. So what HYROX is, I'll explain the actual competition. It is a race that consists of 8 different stations. So there are 8 different workouts that you do. And between each station, you do a 1 kilometer run. So for example, you would start with a kilometer run, then you go to station 1. Then you do another kilometer run, and go to station 2. Another kilometer run, station 3, and so on until you get to the final station. And the goal is to try to do all of these stations and the running as quickly as you can. That's what the race is. What the stations are, station 1 is the ski erg. You might have seen this before. It looks like you're doing kind of a skiing motion. You're pulling these cords down. It's a It's an aerobic exercise called the ski erg. Station 2 is a sled push. So you're pushing a sled, which in the open division for men, you're pushing a 152 kilogram sled. It's 335 pounds. The next station is a sled pull. So you're pulling the sled backwards and you're pulling it at 103 kilograms in the men's open division. Station 4 is a burpee broad jump for 80 meters. So you're doing a burpee and then doing a jump into the next burpee and doing 80 meters of that. Station 5 is doing the rowing machine for 1,000 meters. Station 6 is a farmer's carry. So you're carrying 2 kettlebells, one in each hand. Again, the open division, you're carrying 24 kilos on each side. So it's around 50 pounds per hand. Station 7, sandbag lunges with a 20 kilo sandbag on your shoulders. And you're doing that for 100 meters. And then station 8 is doing 100 reps of a wall ball, where you are taking a 6 kilogram wall and throwing it 3 meters high and doing that for 100 reps. Now, the pro weight, the pro division, slightly more weight, talk about that if we want to. But if you are watching this video, chances are you don't know that much about HYROX and you would be going into the open weight if you're interested. So that is what it is. It's a really fun way to push yourself, to challenge yourself. And what's cool about it is it's standardized. So all over the world, wherever you do the race, it's the exact same race. It doesn't change based on the venue, doesn't change based on the month or the day. It is a standardized race that you can see your own progress as you change over time, which I really enjoy. So I want to talk about why I signed up and why I think it's so beneficial for recovery. This is something, again, that since I've started doing, I've just noticed so many benefits in my life from signing up for the race. So the reason I signed up is really just on a whim. I had a friend of mine who wanted to sign up for the race, and you can do it just by yourself, going through all the stations, or you can sign up for the doubles race, which is you and a partner doing the race together. You're doing all the runs together, but for the stations, you can split it up however you want it between you and your partner. So you can do 50-50, you can do 60-40, you can do 25-25, 25-25. You get to split up the station however you like. Now, most people do 50-50, but it's up to you how you want to split it up. So I had this friend who wanted to sign up and asked if I wanted to sign up with him and be his partner. And I didn't overthink it. I just thought, okay, why not? I'll give it a shot. If anything, this will give me a little more motivation to train harder in the gym. And I am so happy that I signed up because I've really been loving it. And I'm going to talk about some of those benefits now. Now, how it benefits recovery. What are the impact on just your overall lifestyle? Well, one of the ways is that it gives you this extra motivation to push yourself. When you know that you have a race coming up, if you sign up for a race, let's say 3 months out or 4 months out, there's a race coming to a city near you and you put yourself on the list, maybe do it with a friend. When you know that you've got this challenge coming up where you're going to be putting yourself out there, you're going to be pushing yourself as hard as you can, it gives you that fuel, that extra motivation to train harder, to go to the gym more consistently, to get your sleep under control, to sleep early, to focus on your nutrition. It just really gives you that fire because you know that it actually matters. That if you slack off on your sleep, if you slack off on your nutrition, it's going to have an impact on your performance. And so this is the first key benefit that I really want to emphasize, is that when you sign up for something, especially if it's an actual race, whether it's HYROX, CrossFit, a half marathon, something where there is an actual race, there's a date that you have on the calendar, and you are trying to maximize your performance in that event, it gives you a lot of fuel for improving your life, for just living in a healthier way. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, all of it. So that is the first thing that I noticed, is that I've really been pushing it harder in the gym. I've been focusing more on my nutrition. And it's one of the things I've loved most about this HYROX journey, is that it's really forced me to take my health seriously and take it to a new level. So that's the first benefit. The second major benefit that I want to talk about is how it impacts recovery by getting you to learn how to be okay with discomfort, to push through discomfort, and to be okay with pain. This is one of the things I talk about a lot in addiction recovery, particularly around porn addiction, is that we get addicted to this comfort, the dopamine, the easy life, the comfort, and we become so averse to any kind of discomfort in our life. Uncomfortable, emotions, body aches that we don't like, that we want to numb out. Any kind of discomfort, we become unable to be with it. And so we numb out with drugs and alcohol or porn or any kind of addiction. And part of the recovery process is learning the skill of being with discomfort without running away from it. This is what equanimity is about. Equanimity is that ability to be with discomfort without running away from it, to maintain your equipoise, your equanimity, your groundedness in the face of something challenging. And that is a skill that you can learn and you can cultivate. And the way you cultivate it is by intentionally seeking out things that are uncomfortable and learning how to be okay with it in the moment, to push through the discomfort. So that is another huge benefit of doing something like HYROX or any kind of fitness challenge. I mean, this is really just exercise in general, ice baths, exercise. But HYROX really takes that to the next level. You are pushing yourself to your edge, finding your edge, finding your limit, and learning how to stay in that uncomfortable zone, which is really powerful for recovery. So that's the second major benefit. The third major benefit that I've been noticing is just the social or community component to it. Getting out, getting connected with other people, finding community. A lot of addiction is about isolation, not wanting to be connected, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to be around others. And so one of the benefits of HYROX, and this is true for CrossFit, for a lot of these fitness competitions, is that you get to support your recovery by being in community with other people, by connecting with others, even if it's just going to a gym and, having a little bit of small talk or chit chat with some of the people who are showing up to these classes. So it is a subtle impact on recovery, but a really important one, is that it forces you to connect with other people. The fourth benefit is just around cardio. One of the things in HYROX, which is different from bodybuilding, it's not just strength training, but there's also this running component, is that it forces you to do more cardio. And I'll tell you, I hate cardio. I don't like running. I've never really liked running. But because it's part of the competition, I have been taking my cardio, my running more seriously. And it's something that I'm learning how to love. And there are so many benefits to doing more cardiovascular exercise. Increasing your VO2 max, increasing your longevity, increasing your blood sugar usability, fighting off diabetes and insulin resistance. There's so many benefits there. And so I love the fact that this has forced me to get back into cardio and get back into things like running or biking or rowing. Just a great benefit, again, another side benefit of it. So those are kind of the key things that I've been noticing. And I think whether or not you do HYROX, finding some way to push yourself is going to be beneficial. Finding some way to challenge yourself to get outside your comfort zone, to push yourself through some kind of external way, signing up for a half marathon, signing up for a fitness competition. It just gives you a little bit more fuel and fire in the tank to work with. So that is some of the reasons why I've been loving HYROX. I can tell you a little bit about my results. I've already done some what are called HYROX race simulations. So it is the full race. It's an unofficial race, though. It's not the official HYROX event, but some of the gyms here in Bangkok have run these simulations. And so I've gotten a chance to test myself and see what that's like. So for my first ever HYROX solo race simulation, I got a time of 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think it might have been 1 hour and 31. But it was 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm pretty happy with the result. I didn't train too much before that. I also didn't sleep very well the night before. I was feeling kind of not quite under the weather, but between good and under the weather. So, given the fact that it was not my best day, I wasn't feeling my best. I was also running outside doing the kilometer runs under the sun in the heat, whereas the competition is going to be indoors in aircon. I'm quite happy with my 1 hour 30 solo race time. And I know that I can get better the next time. And this is, again, one of the reasons I love it is that you get to compete against yourself. You know, it's not about competing against the best people in the world. It's saying, can I do better than I did last time? And a lot of personal development work is changing the focus of, can I compete against someone else or compare myself to someone else, to can I compete against myself? Can I be better than I was the day before? That's one of the reasons I really love HYROX, is you get to push yourself each day. So that was my HYROX simulation race time on the solo. And then recently, just a few days ago, I did another HYROX sim, this time the doubles with my partner, who were doing the race together in May. And for that, we got 1 hour and 13 minutes on the doubles time in the open division. It's a good, respectable time. We're happy with it. We think that on the race day, we can get under 110. We're going to aim for 105. We'll see how we do. But we do have a race coming up next month, about 4 weeks from today. So stay tuned for updates on that. Who knows, maybe I'll hate it and never want to do HYROX again. But it is something that I've been really loving, pushing myself, finding that extra fuel and motivation. And so I wanted to come on to the channel today and just share a little bit about what it is and why I would recommend trying it out. You know, finding a gym near you that does some kind of race like this, some kind of fitness challenge where you can push yourself. I know in the US, there are some other ones. I think Orange Theory is one that I've heard of from one of my clients. CrossFit is obviously one, if that's something that speaks to you. Running, just doing running races. You know, you could do a half marathon or sign up for a marathon, maybe a triathlon of some sort. But finding ways to push yourself is such a valuable thing you can do for your recovery. So I really want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, to find some way to push yourself. So that's all I have for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this little mini episode, a little life update on something that I've been passionate about. We'll see you guys on the next episode.